You are live.
Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in. It's not yet time, just a few minutes for our live lectures to start, but I decided that, okay, we need to start a little earlier. Please move the camera a little this way, thank you. What are we going to talk about today? One light photo shoot. Now, what is so important about one light? Well, in nature, we have one sun. And you'll find out that even as a photographer, the first thing you need to do is to take care of your key light, which is the main light, that is illuminating your subject. So in this tutorial, we're going to really go through the basics of lighting. Photography itself, even a part of the name, photo means light, and in the next, let's say 2 minutes, we should start the lecture proper, and good for you to tune in. So I'm sort of counting down. We're going to look through the properties of light. We're going to also look through the different ways you can manipulate light. I'm going to give you examples of different types of lighting, but the thing again is, even though we have just one light, we may be working with different light modifiers and reflectors. Sometimes you can turn one light into 3 lights, which is amazing. For this tutorial, I'm using just this light here. This is an aperture 300. Well, you can use any other type of light. You can use a strobe, you can use a speed light, but I'm using this so that you can see. It's a very powerful continuous light so that you can see what we're doing. This is IG Live. I'm going to be shooting with my Nikon Z7, which is, okay for me for this. Is a mirrorless camera. Well, any other camera, any other DSLR, and if you are using continuous light, you can even use your phone to do all these experiments. And I would like to introduce, Naomi Okoro-Dudu. She has graciously decided to be my muse for today. And you need to follow her at Naomi Okoro-Dudu, amazing model. And our makeup artist, Kamani Essentials, she decided to help us out today and put some lovely makeup on her. And good, it's time, let us start. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I want to start first of all by talking about the properties of light. Now, all of us know from physics that light travels in a straight line, but there are several properties. It is important for you to really understand and unbundle these properties so that you can start analyzing light very scientifically. As an artist, this will help you in the future to analyze what your light is doing and what you're doing with your light. Now, the first thing to talk about here is the intensity. Light has intensity. This is how bright the light is. Now, the intensity of light is controlled. If you're working with indoor, studio lights like this, then you can control. If it is your strobe, you can add more light on your strobe. If it is a continuous light like this, you can always increase the light. Okay. Now, the other thing that affects the intensity of light is the proximity of the light to your subject. The distance between the light and your subject determines how intense the light is. The more you move the light away from your subject, the more the intensity of the light is reduced. Now, this is very important because it is relative. Now, if you move the light closer to the model, it gets brighter. But then, what is the distance between your source of light and the backdrop? So that is where that whole analysis of intensity becomes very important. Another way to control your intensity, of course, is to work on the exposure on your camera. For those of you who are photographers, you understand the combination of aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, the triangle of exposure. That in itself is another lesson. Another thing you could use to improve the intensity of your light is to reduce some of the modifiers that you put in front of it. If you're having just a reflector, something like this, on your light, it's going to help reflect most of the light forward, and it's helping project it forward. You'll get a more intense light as opposed to, when you're putting it in a softbox like this. Now, that brings us to the second property of light, which is how hard or soft it is. Now we say light travels in a straight line, okay? Now, if the light is touching your subject, there are particles of light traveling in a straight line. Now, there is hard light and there is soft light. Now, what affects this and what is the difference? Well, you'll find out that hard light is something you will recognize by how clean and sharp the shadows are on your subject. You will see some of those pictures where the shadow, you could use it and create dogs and things like that. Now, that is a very, very hard light. And what causes this? When the source of your light is small in relation to your subject. Note, the source of your light is small in relation to your subject. That will give you hard light. Now, what hard light does for your picture is that it emphasizes texture. It emphasizes the three-dimensionality. It gives you hard shadows, and that will make you appreciate the texture. Sometimes maybe you're shooting architecture, you're shooting something, you want to get the textures out. Maybe you're really interested in the texture of the skin. Hard light would work for you. And a very good example of hard light is the sun. Even though the sun is several times bigger than the earth, but the distance of the sun is so far that relative to you, it looks like a very small source of light. So when you look at your shadow, let's say in the desert, when there are no clouds covering the sun, it is a clean shadow, pristine, right? Okay, now, what is soft light? Soft light happens when the light is scattered. So the source of light is big in relation to your subject. So to get a soft light, all you really need to do is to put a modifier, like this. If you come around, you put a modifier like this. This is a soft box. Now what has happened? You have a smaller source of light, but you've created this dome that scatters the light. The size of this light relative to your subject becomes bigger. But one thing you need to know, and it's an important tip for photographers, is that even this softbox can turn to a hard light. If you take it very far away from your model, then the distance starts to make you look like the sun, and your shadow starts to get harder. So you could even have a light that is quite not as big as this, like the beauty dish, and you bring it very close to your model, it starts to soften. So it's a very important thing to remember. So if you want a soft light, it is the size of the source of the light. If it's the bigger it is, the softer the light. And why do we like to use soft light? Soft light tends to be more flattering for portraiture. A good example of soft light in nature is an overcast day when the sun is covered by clouds. So the entire sky becomes your source of light, then becomes big and soft. What the characteristics of a soft shadow, that you have in the background, it becomes almost shadowless sometimes. It is good for flattering your subject. If you're shooting an, maybe a 60, 70-year-old lady, and she said, look, I want to look like I'm 20 years old. Well, you better not use hard light to shoot her. You're going to emphasize her wrinkles. But sometimes when you're shooting reportage and you want to show, age on your subject, maybe a hard light will even be more dramatic. So there are no hard and fast rules, And there's one nugget of wisdom I'd like to drop for you guys. If you want to stand out as a photographer, make sure you're not doing what other people are doing. You have to find a way to look different. So if they say, oh, you must use soft light, find a way to use hard light. You never know, So that is on the hard and soft as a property of light. Now we have temperature of light. Temperature of light is measured in kelvins. It means you can have lights that are a little warmer and have lights that are a little darker, a little bluer, cooler, or whatever color cast that the light has. When the sun is going down, at sunset or when the sun is just rising, it's usually a little warm or yellowish. That's a warm temperature. Tungsten light, that you use in your rooms, the bulb, most times is very warm, okay? If night light, moonlight is very blue, daylight is somewhere in the middle, like white. So you need to check out the color temperature of the light you're shooting with. Most of these lights are what we call daylight balance light. Most of your strobes and your speed lights are daylight balanced. So you need to find out, what the setting is on your camera. Then the next thing, I'm just trying to run very quickly through all this theory because you need to note it. These are things we're going to be talking about when I start shooting. Now, the next thing you need to really note is this other property of the direction of light. The direction of light, the direction that the light is coming from, the angle from which your light is coming, relative to your subject speaks volumes. You see, if you want to be a portrait artist, then you need to understand the structure of the human face and how the light affects it. It is so important. You see, we are seekers of light and we try to find beauty. And then you want to shoot somebody and make them even as beautiful as they could be with the particular lighting, right? So the direction of that light will influence the story that you're telling. For instance, if you take a light and put it like right under me, okay, and the temperature of the light is really like very hot, like almost orange and red, it will look like somebody sitting at night in front of a bonfire, right? And if you have a blue light coming from up, it looks like moonlight. You're almost getting into horror movie kind of setting here. You understand? And so the direction of the light, which we're really going to be talking about, is very important. So without much ado, let us start our shoot, right? So what I'm going to be doing right now is, first of all, I'm shooting with an 85mm 1.4 lens on an Nikon Z7. For portraits, I like really to shoot more with the telephoto lenses, okay? And telephoto lenses are more flattering. Wide-angle lenses tend to exaggerate perspective, which means whatever is nearer gets bigger. So you get bigger lips and bigger nose. That always happens with our cellular phones if we bring it so close to our face. But these days, these phones have even telephoto mode. Telephoto means a longer lens. Anything from probably 85mm to 100 to 200mm is telephoto. Okay, things that are going like 15mm, 24, 27, 16mm, 14mm, those are wide angle lenses. Well, that is another lesson. Okay, so I'm going to start with a particular type of lighting. So the first thing now we need to note is that right now I'm working with a soft light. So I've put a modifier on my light here to make it a soft light. Now the first type of lighting that I want us to talk about here is what is called Rembrandt lighting. Now for those of you who didn't study art in school, you should actually go check out Rembrandt. He's one of those medieval time painters. He used to have this window high up in his studio, and he would place the subject at a certain angle so that the light comes a little from the side. Now what happens is that it casts a shadow, a long shadow with the nose, and then the cheekbone comes in this way and you have a shadow here, and you start to have a kind of triangle, okay, on the face. That is Rembrandt lighting. It's a beautiful type of lighting. It's not what everybody does, but I love it. And it's really, for me, what I love about Rembrandt lighting is that it accentuates the person's features, your bones, the three-dimensionality of the face is really well enhanced. So what I'm going to do here is to attempt to do Rembrandt lighting. What do I want to do? If I take this light and I place it a little higher and slightly to the side, okay, then we would get that effect. So if I point the light down a little bit, thank you, and then take it a little higher, above the head. Let's bring it a little closer. Now let's see what we've got. Yeah. All right. Now bring it up a little. So if you shift, come this. So sit down here. Thank you. All right. Let me kill this light so we don't have. Good. So we can see what we're doing. So what I'm doing is trying to place the light a little bit above the model, but slightly from the side. Yeah? Let's see how this works. Okay, if you look straight at me, thank you. Right there. Nice, that works. Take it a little more to the side. Now what I'm doing is I've got side lighting, it's soft, but at the same time, we've got this nice triangle. Now if you look at her face, if you come close, you look at her face, you know, she's got a lovely cheekbone, and you see how we've accentuated this triangle, and at the same time, now you can see the shadow to the nose. If you turn a little, your face a little to us, no, away a little, right there. Thank you very much. So this is it. Can you come forward a little bit? Let's notice it. Yes. That will give us just, yes, sorry. Okay, sit. Let's see. And then looking straight at me. There. That is it. Now, that gives us the triangle. So we're looking at her face, you can see that, you know, and then the shadow coming that way. You know, this side of us is fully illuminated, and you've got the other side in shadow. Now, let me take a shot of this. And so we're going to take a few pictures with the Rembrandt lighting. Let me position my tripod. Just a second. And just a second. Connect this. I'm shooting with a Cam Ranger. I've got this thing connected to my camera so that you guys can see the pictures as I am shooting. And what I'm doing is, you know, there. Now, I think I'll take my ISO down a little bit and make it slightly darker. I'm shooting at ISO 250 now. I'll just bring it down to ISO 200. And beautiful. So what you can see here, you know, is now this is the shot that we're making, you know. So what you can see here is, what I love is, you know, you can see the catch light, you know, in the eyes, which for me is very, very essential to your shot. That brings life to the face. So let me go back a little bit and get the entire shoulders. I'm shooting with a prime lens, so no zooming. So let's take a few more shots. So that'll be very nice. Thank you very much. Nice. Let's see. Beautiful. Nice. Okay. Can you turn your body a little to the side and then still bring your face to me? Beautiful. There. Wonderful. I love this. Nice. Now, the thing with this Rembrandt lighting is that when the model turns her face a little away towards the light, you have this wonderful, you know, shadow that comes on the side, and then the triangle of the face then becomes even more accentuated. It's amazing, you know, and it's quite, yeah, this is lovely. I like this. Thank you very much, Nami. Beautiful, wonderful. Nice. So let me recompose a little bit. Beautiful. Let me go back a little bit and get more, and get a little more. So even though we're doing headshots, you can get some character from the pose, yeah? Nice, Naomi. Awesome. So now this is wonderful. So what I've done is, well, we're working with Rembrandt lighting. So this is light coming from the side, slightly above the model, and this is one type of lighting, okay? Now the next thing I would like to do is to introduce a reflector. Now what is a reflector? You need to bounce light, okay? Now for me it looks good. I don't mind the shadows by the side of her face. I don't mind, I love them. So for a particular type of work, like if I turn this to black and white, the contrast is beautiful, you know? And don't forget that I have a gray background, a middle gray background, okay? And what is the effect? So important also, please do not forget that your subject is there relative to your background. Your background is doing, so what's the background doing for me? The background is there as a neutral, but at the same time it's a middle tone. So you can see the dark of her head contrasting with the middle tone of the background. So you see the highlight on her face also being brighter than the middle tone of the background. For me, I love that. It's a lovely place to start with a portrait, and it's easy. So what I'm going to do now is to introduce a reflector. What does a reflector do? It just bounces light. So from one light, one fixture, you do what? You get two. So what am I using here? I'm using foam core. I don't know if you guys go to buy a fridge or any of these things. These are those things that they used to pack your stuff. So I'm always a nuisance at home when they're unpacking any television. I'm like, hey, don't throw it away. You know, what I love about it is that it is so light, but at the same time it is, you know, straight. So if somebody is holding it, it's not heavy, okay? And you can see I used a clamp here to hold this. So what I've done, you know, so don't even say it's too expensive or anything. You can go and find this stuff, okay? You know, another thing that I've done is, now this is a white side. Now, if you're looking at the model, you can see what is happening here. So just go closer to her. Now, what is happening here when I remove the thing, you know, come back a little, yeah. When I remove this, and then when I put it, you can see the difference, you know. So what has happened is that it softens the shadow, you know. It softens the shadow area. Now, the closer you bring it to the model, the more the reflection. The further you take it, the lower the reflection, which is wonderful because then you can control the amount of light. But let me tell you guys a secret, okay? Now, what if you took a piece of kitchen foil and you pasted it on this stuff? It turns to a silver reflector. Now, I need to tell you guys, some of you be saying, oh man, I don't have money to buy a reflector, blah, blah, blah. Get a kitchen foil. Now, what has happened? It is now reflecting more light. If you take it back and turn it a little this way, it becomes a rim light. If you take it this way and bring it, it's almost taking the whole shadow away. You know? So this is very crucial, people. You know? So let me take a few shots with the white side. I really like the white side, you know, depending on what I want to do. Bring it close, it's nice and soft. So let me take a few shots and let us see how this works. All right, now let's go. Now, when you're shooting portraits, it's so important for you to know that you have to focus on the eye of the model. On the eye of the model. Now, you see what is happening to this picture. You've got a nice, soft, beautiful effect going on here. You know, just a second. So you've got a nice soft, oh, beautiful. Thank you. So if you come and look at the picture that we're taking, you'll see how it has sort of softened the picture nicely. You can see, that shadow area, getting even softer. So there, and beautiful. Now if I want also to have a bit of shadow, just not to have the shadow so light, and I move the reflector back away a little bit, the shadow gets a bit darker, but at the same time, it's not as dark as it was before. Beautiful. All right, let's go with this, yeah? Give me something. Beautiful. Beautiful now. There. Really nice, really nice. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Wonderful. So for Rembrandt's lighting, a nice reflector from the side is a good thing, yeah? So you soften the shadows if that is your thing, okay? Now the next thing I want to do is to bring in a second reflector, okay? Now, well, if you don't have stands to hold this and you have a brother or a sister or a friend, they will hold it for you, Otherwise, all these little clamps and things, they always help, Now, the next thing I want to do is to bring another reflector that I'll put right in front of her and bounce some of that light up. Now, that also adds another effect, to your picture. So, let's say I move this out a little bit so we can see, let me take this away completely. So we can see the effect of the second reflector. Now this bounce, so I'm also still using the same foam core. And what I'm doing is wonderful. So what I'm doing is creating, let's get it, a bounce from down to up. It's called a filling light, okay? It fills up the shadows, and it also sometimes creates a beautiful catch light in the eye of the model. And it's one of those things that are almost standard for a beauty shoot, to have a reflector coming from up. It gives a lovely catch light in the eyes, countering the main light, but at the same time, it softens all the wrinkles on your subject's face. Also, it's good to have it a little big, which brings out a nice soft bounce. So let's see the sort of images we're going to get from this. All right, now let's play with this. Beautiful. Come a little closer. Nice. Now, if you look, you're going to see that beautiful soft. Can you see the reflection under her eyes? In her eyes, you're going to see two reflections now, one from under and the very strong one from up. Nice catch light, because this soft light is round, mimicking the sun, So we really, really end up getting something quite amazing. Now look at this picture. I think it's really, really interesting. All right, Naomi, let's play with this. Let's take a few more shots. And oh, wonderful! I love that pose. Just a second, yeah. Let me get a good focus on the eyes. I love that pose. Beautiful. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I love this, but I still think I want the other reflector softening the shadows. So I've got two reflectors now, and so I put this up in here. So what has happened now? We now have 3 lights out of 1 light, without spending any money, guys. So don't tell me, oh, I can't type because I don't have light. But wait a minute, you don't even need a light. You don't even need this light. If you have a window, I don't know if you scroll through my timeline, you'll see the one I took on the window in my office, okay? Beautiful. And if you notice, you can see some rim light going on there. You can achieve that with a reflector, right? So don't tell me you don't have money to go and buy lights, Get this from a window, a little from the side, right? if your model is sitting down and the window is a little high, you're getting your Rembrandt lighting. You put a reflector under and put one from the side, you've got this beautiful beauty, light. Okay? So let's do this. Take it away now. Let's see. Oh yes. Let me see. There. Beautiful. Then head up a little bit. Thank you. Again, let me do this. There. Awesome. Beautiful. I like. Lovely. Amazing. Let me move that. I think I want a little more shadow. One thing you need to understand with shooting people is that no two human beings are exactly the same. You have to constantly study the face of your model to understand, or your subject to understand how you can complement. If you look at Naomi, she has very strong, very accentuated cheekbones. And for me, it's one of the major attributes of her face. So to have a bit of a shadow, for me, brings out the three-dimensionality of her face and accentuates what she already has, So a little bit of shadow for me is absolutely crucial for Naomi's face. So let me take a few more. There. Boom. Wonderful. Nice now. I love this. Let me go back a little bit and get that hand movement. There. I love it. Again. Boom. Awesome. Now, you guys should watch out. I think I'll try. It's not easy, but I'll try to edit some of these pictures and put on my timeline for tomorrow so that you guys can see the final images. Yeah. But right now, you're looking at the raw files as I'm shooting them with absolutely no editing. And I always tell people, try and get your shots right before you start going to do all that Photoshop and all that stuff. Okay. Anyway, so this is one Rembrandt lighting. Let us do the next type of lighting right now. Anyway, yeah. The next type of lighting I would like to work on is what I call butterfly lighting. The butterfly lighting technique is something that I think it originated in old Hollywood. Okay, the whole idea is to take the light about 45 degrees above the model and then cast a shadow that resembles a butterfly under the nose. That's why it's called butterfly lighting. You understand, people? Now, this type lighting technique, why is it so popular? It's popular because, if you look, it brings out this triangular form of the face. There's a triangle on the face here that it exaggerates, okay? And then if you cast that little shadow under the nose then tends to look like it is pointing out more. And at the same time, it casts a one highlight straight down the nose, like this, people. I'm sure if you've seen some of the makeup artists, they're trying to make people beautiful, and what is happening, they're putting a line here to accentuate the people's nose. This lighting does that. Cast a shadow right under here, which the makeup artists want to put a blusher here, right? Okay, so what you need to do is place your light directly above your subject, okay, and pull it up at 45 degrees, and that's where we are. Let me take away these modifiers, these reflectors, so that we can appreciate the next lighting regime we're going to entertain. All right, so I'll move this camera to the side. So what we're going to do is move this light turn it slightly downwards, and then move it directly in front of the model. Now, this is so important, people. The closer you bring the light to the model, the softer the light will be. Now, I like to place this light in such a way that it's just barely out of your camera range, okay? So, I'll take my camera a little lower. And I think I need to move the light a little higher right now, it's too low. And point it directly down. To do this successfully, you need a boom stand. A boom stand is an arm, you know, that shoots out, you know, of your stand. So this is the boom arm that then holds your camera, which so that the stand does not stay in the middle of your shot. Well, if you don't have a boom, somebody can help you tilt your light on a stand, and that will give you this exact same effect. So don't tell me you didn't get money to buy a boom. I always advocate people work with what you have until you can afford what you want. You know, so all these things there are all do-it-yourself ways. So, yes, let's see. And let me kill this light so we can appreciate the lighting that we're getting. All right, now I need you to look straight at me. Yes, straight at me. Beautiful. I think I need to get this a little more like that. If you don't mind coming a little closer, just a little. Right there. Thank you. Let me see. So if you're looking straight at me, let me cut down the power of this light a little bit. You know. So if you're looking straight at me, and head down a little. Perfect. So if you're looking at this, you would see, you would see that you can see the shadow cast under the chin, and you can also see, you can see the shadow cast under the chin, and you can also see the shadow, creating that. Of lighting, you want to use hard lighting. You want to use hard lighting. And so let me take a few shots and let's see how it works. Now, looking through my camera, you find out that the dynamic range of the camera is, yes, much less than the human eye. So you're going to see these shadows that we're talking about even more. Oh yeah. And there's a certain symmetry, with this type of lighting, especially if the model is looking straight at you. All right, Naomi, this is amazing. I love this. You see, this is the kind of picture you want to take if you're shooting for maybe a beauty product, some lipstick, some eyelashes, eyeshadow, and things like that, and even powder, skincare products, really. And beautiful, now, I like the way you're just gradually taking your head up and down and giving us ever so slight variations, of that. It's so important for your model to pace the poses, that gives you a good variety, subtle varieties of angles. Now, this is really nice. I mean, I love this. Personally, I don't mind. Now, there is something I'm going to do, guys. I'm sure you've noticed that the background has gone slightly darker in this picture. That I was talking to you about the intensity of the light relative to the distance from the light. So what I'm going to do, let me do something else. I'm going to bring the background closer to our model, and then we need to compare. You know, we then need to compare. Let me take another shot. We then need to compare this with the previous shot. You know, now you see what has happened. You know, just by moving your background a little closer to the model, you've gotten more light on the model, which is giving us the ability to get a more contrast from the hair. You see the dark hair contrasting with the background. It is beautiful. I love it. So the next thing I'm going to do again is to introduce the bounce. You know, that is the magic of this look, people. It's not complete until you get yourself a bounce. So you get the reflector coming up in here and bouncing some of that light and softening the shadows under the chin, and you'll still get the three-dimensionality of your shot, but at the same time, you will see what I'm talking about. It adds a certain glow to your picture. But I am sure most of you already know this, you know? How do I say it? Well, you already know this. And if you don't know, now you know. Anyway, so let's position this, okay? Sometimes I want to make it look like it's directly facing up like a table. Then sometimes I want to make it slant a little bit. So now I want to position this, okay? Maybe take it a little lower. Now the trick is, if you're using, like now I'm really getting maximum bounce because I'm using a silver reflector, okay? If you're using a white, sometimes it's more subtle, but this is a silver reflector. So it's almost the same power of the light that is up there, but it's slightly less, which I appreciate, okay? So let me take a few shots with this and let's see what it looks like, you know? All right, Naomi, let's do this. Whoa, there, nice. Again, beautiful, beautiful. I love that, yes. Maybe you could do something with your hands, you know, maybe your hands on the shoulder or something, on the neck, or, yes, I like. Beautiful, beautiful. These things add a little drama to your picture, you know. Beautiful now. Beautiful, head down a little bit gradually. Thank you, I like that. Nice. Now, with this, you can see how we've been able to sort of soften the shadow under the chin with the reflector. You know, one thing you need to find out, especially if you're doing like close-up headshots, you can even take it closer, you know, to the face, okay? Then it becomes even softer, and you get a stronger bounce, you know? Then let's see how this works. So I have to go closer now and crop. Now you see this, you will see the difference. I'm going landscape with this right now, and then let's see, you know, the closer it is, and even with this, we can afford to bring the main light even closer, you know. Let me see, I have to twist this a little bit, yeah? Just a second. Thank you. And then, beautiful. Lovely. So, yeah. So I'm trying to get even a softer look out of these lights. All right, now let's see. Let me try this. Ready, and okay. Head down a little bit. Thank you. There. So what is happening now is I've got even a stronger reflection. Head down and thank you. A stronger reflection. If you look at the catch lights in the eye, you know, you look at the catch lights in the eye, you'll see that the one under is almost at the same intensity as the one up. It's amazing how you can just have two full lights from one light just by using, you know, a piece of foam core and the reflector. Beautiful, Naomi. I love that. I love that. Thank you. Boom. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Lovely. So people, you know, this is it. This is beauty lighting 101. Okay? And I'm sure most of you already know this. And I see quite a bit of that all over the place. You know, I'm sure you all know this. You know, it's the butterfly light with the bounce. I see it on Instagram all the time. You know, so good to look at this. Thank you very much. The next thing I want to look at, a very quick look at, is what I call side lighting. Okay, let's try that. You know, and see how it's going. I hope you guys are having fun. I hope you're learning something. You know. So, let me. Check the time and make sure we are making quick progress. So for this lighting, what I'm going to do is basically to turn the light from above to sideways, almost completely to the side. So one half of the face is illuminated, the other half is completely dark. That's the effect I want to achieve here. So yeah. All right. I think I'll move. This is one lighting arrangement that you don't need a boom stand for. Bring you out. You know, if everybody is using butterfly lighting, then butterfly lighting is pure water. Okay, so let me get a focus. Look straight at me. There you go. Let me get a focus and let's see. Nice. In fact, you know, there again. Look at me and wonderful. Almost Rembrandt lighting. Completely side lighting. Okay. Yeah, right there. Let me see. You know, because we have such a big soft box, the light is really spreading all around. But let's see. You know, again, there you go. Boom. Yeah, I mean, it's a dramatic kind of light. Okay, it's nice. This is the kind of lighting you see it a lot in film. You know, like film noir and. But then, when you bring the reflector to the other side, then you start to get something also interesting going on here. Background. So you have a rim light, that's what it's called. Okay? So if you look at this, all right, look at us. Beautiful. Let me get back to my portrait mode. It's so beautiful and dramatic. I love it. Head up a little bit again. So she starts to look like an action figure. Let me get my composition right, get the other shoulder sorted. Now this could work very well for a film poster, you know, if there was this strong story, coming up. Oh, all right, people, we have 30 minutes left. I have to be quick on this so we can get more. So that is and have some kind of soft light coming to the other side of the face. But the beauty of this side lighting, people, see the trick. If you turn a little to the side and a little more, beautiful. And then bring your face 3/4 to us. Stop there. Thank you. You know, now this is where this side lighting then becomes a completely different thing. So the side lighting becomes this kind of side lighting stroke Rembrandt light. And you're beginning to get this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful picture. So beautiful, beautiful. Nice. Can you drop that shoulder and head up a little? There you go. There you go. Okay, nice. You know, so you see, when you turn the model's face slightly to the light, then this starts to become something completely amazing. Now, good. I have one more. Well, there's backlighting. Okay. All right, let me try this. Backlighting is basically blasting the light from the back of the model. Okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to start shooting from the other end. Yeah? So I'll bring this light down a little bit. And it's almost like shooting a silhouette, yes? You know? So let me take this off the tripod and take a few shots. This is going to be the quickest one now. Okay, so I like what you're doing. You're backing me and then turn your face a little sideways. Yeah, turn your shoulder towards me. Turn a little to the other side. Thank you. Yes. So there you go. I think I need to bring the light even lower. Lower. Yes. Wonderful. And have it, yeah. So my softbox becomes a kind of background light. And well, let's see. Okay. I may have to cut down on my exposure quite a bit. Okay, turn some more. Yeah, this is more like, it's very good with silhouettes. Okay? So let me get a focus on. Okay, can you move forward a little bit? Sorry. And yeah, a little closer. Thank you. Let me see. Good. All right. Now, this is really just shooting a silhouette of the model. And yes. So this same one light can give you a beautiful silhouette of the model. I mean, that's it, and that's just it, you know. Just you turning a little away. Now there is this other lighting that is almost like a rim light. So can you turn your face away from the light a little? Yeah. Aha. And then bring to me a little bit. Thank you. Now, this is another quick one. I've got my main light coming from one side, and I've got a reflector on the other side. In fact, let me go with the white side of the reflector. Okay. Now this is something you can do against the white wall. I do it all the time. Get a nice soft light coming from the back, and your key light then becomes the white wall. And you've got a beautiful soft light on the face of the model, and it's amazing what you can achieve. Can you do like your backing me that way? Let's come to see it. It's a very delicate, so you'll be surprised the number of different looks. Thank you, my dear. And then turn your face towards me a little. Thank you. There you go. Nice. Drop that shoulder. Let's see some neck. I love that. Wonderful. So you can see how this kind of lighting could work if you have a white wall in your studio. All right, people. That has been some amazing. Well, I tried to make it quick. Okay. That has been some amazing. I wanted to get as much as possible for us to look at. Okay, my dear. Maybe let's bring the seat over there and there. Nice. You know, and if this is time for us to do questions and answers. If anybody has some interesting questions, to ask, please, this is the time. So if you have any questions to ask, I can treat some of those questions. Let me see. Black Art Photography says, why a lens that has 1.4 in the studio, okay, does a higher f-stop not give a more flattering image? Thank you very much. The fact that you have a lens that opens up at f1.4 does not mean you need to use f1.4. Now, f1.4 means you can open it up really wide and get more light. It's a good lens for me. So that's a very good question. Why a super wide aperture lens? Now the good thing about the 1.4 lens is that you can still stop it down to f22. Okay, so you have that option if you're looking for a lot of sharpness in your image and you're not bothered about a shallow depth of field. Like if you're shooting advertising or you're shooting a whole family and you need to get everybody sharp. It's important to get a higher f-stop, on your camera. So the f-stop does not necessarily affect how beautiful your picture is, but it may help separate your subject from the background by creating a blur. Yeah, that's a good question there. And NII Visuals says, when is the best to use butterfly light? When is it the best to use butterfly light? The truth is this. I always tell people that photography is a means to an end. It's not an end in itself. You're going to use photography to tell a story. Now, when is the best time to use butterfly light? If you look at your subject and you think they have some beautiful bone structure that you want to accentuate, maybe the butterfly light would help very well with that. If you decide to put two black cards on the sides and create more shade on the sides, you could actually slim somebody's face down. Somebody is sensitive about how fat or rounded their face is. Okay, and but I would over advise that one thing you need to know is this: I am teaching you one way to do things. It's important to know the rules so that you can break them. There is no hard and fast rule here. You try it, you look at it, see whether it works for you. You understand? But one thing I always advise people is this. I mean, there are so many people watching this. Always look at it, learn from it, and add something new to it. If you look at your work and it looks like everybody's work, then you're doing it wrong. Your work has to stand out. And that is something I'm constantly searching for. How do I make my work a little different? Now, I've only done soft light shoot here with you guys. I don't think we'll have enough time to do hard light. In which case, I will probably be putting this on the light as opposed to the soft box that you have. So the source of light is quite reduced, and then you have a what do you call it? A sharper kind of shadow, Instead of soft, you have a hard light. So I would say, look, there is no particular best time to use any type of lighting. It all depends on the mood you want to create. You want against some checkered background, against the window, against an outdoor, a tree, some shrubs, some green, some sky, You then start to look at how a shadow on one side could help bring something out, or how events. How do I know my light is 45 degrees? Okay. That's a good question. Now let me tell you something, guys. I'm sorry. When I say 45 degrees, I didn't mean you should go and get a ruler and start measuring and say, okay, it's actually 45 degrees from, this is 90 degrees, right? So half of 90 degrees is 45 degrees, right? And then your light is coming from there in relation to your model, not like 90 degrees coming from there. But you know what? Look, these things are not hard and fast rules, okay? In fact, every person's face determines the angle you're supposed to be placing the light. So it may be 45 degrees, 35 degrees, 90 degrees, okay? So these are not hard. So when I say 45 degrees, I didn't mean you don't take a ruler and get it and say, okay, that is the light. All these things are the lights like right above their heads, to create that a smoother and more pleasing effect. So it all depends on the individual. So these rules are not cast in stone. That's for me is very, very important. Now, I don't know how much time I have. Oh, we're out of time. This is supposed to be a 1 hour